Hey guys, welcome to another ProGuides Teamfight Tactics video. Today, we're going to teach you everything that you need to know about Assassins. In this video, we'll be reviewing the synergy that holds many strengths at both burst and DPS. You'll be learning about all the champions, comp variants, itemization, and what makes this comp work best. But first, I'd like to remind you to click on the link below and take a look at the updated ProGuides.com if you want to learn more about teamfight tactics. ProGuides will always have info on the newest patches, best builds, and strategies. There are all kinds of different resources from top players to help you guys become the best players that you can be. So be sure to check out ProGuides.com using the link in that description. Now, let's get right back to the video. To start off, in order to play Assassins, it's important to understand all the Assassins when running it. So we'll jump right into reviewing over each Assassin and their core strengths and traits. Kha'Zix is a one-cost Void Assassin, serving as an early game monster because of his ability Taste Their Fear. This ability is what makes Kha'Zix excel in the early game, since its damage amplifies if a unit is isolated. Since there are typically less units in each team, he is more likely to find a Vayne or Lucian by themselves. However, as the game goes on, his damage feels lacking due to lack of isolation. The core items for Kha'Zix are Rapid Fire Cannon and GA, while other viable items are Hextech Gunblade, Luden's Echo, Seraph's, Yuumi, and Dragonclaw. If you have no plans to run Void in your Assassin's comp, this is where items are best on him. That way, these strong items can give you a win streak, and then he can be sold for better late-game hyper carries like Rengar or Evelynn. Moving on, Zed is a 2-cost ninja assassin, also working extremely well as an early-game carry because of his low cost and high stats. Along with that, his ninja synergy grants him even more AD and spell damage. Combined with items like RFC and Infinity Edge, Zed can become a fantastic carry. For core items, you'll typically go for Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge, and Bloodthirster. There are other viable items like Gunblade, GA, Zeke's Herald, Static Shiv, Rageblade, and Phantom Dancer. Zed's items are very similar to Rengar's items. He also can be a fantastic unit to put items on early until you 2-star your Rengar. In general though, his ninja synergy can make him a reasonable hyper carry, especially if 3-starred. Next up, Pyke is a 2-cost pirate assassin used as a powerful CC unit. His pirate synergy can be utilized to gain more gold early game. However, Pyke's overall damage and stats are a bit lacking, especially for an assassin. This makes him not an ideal unit to stack carry items on. For a core item, you'll typically go for Morrocrux. Other viable items are Spear of Shojin, Frozen Heart, and Guardian Angel. Morrocrux is a fantastic item on Pyke, serving as a great way to get AoE burn and grievous wounds. Frozen Heart, while a strong item on Pyke, is better kept as a potential backup due to Tear and Chain Vest being on a lot of high items like Seraph's or Guardian Angel. Moving on to one of the stronger champions, Rengar is a 3-cost wild assassin, played as one of the best hyper carries at the moment. His attack speed buff from his ability Savagery, alongside his wild buff and high base AD, Rengar can turn into an unstoppable ferocious beast. Out of all assassins, Rengar is definitely one of the stronger ones out there. His core items will typically be Rapid Fire Cannon, Bloodthirster, and either Guardian Angel or Dragon's Claw depending on your matchup. His viable items are Gunblade, Static Shiv, Phantom Dancer, Shrink, Hush, Infinity Edge, Rageblade, and Zeke's Herald. If you're using Rengar as a hyper carry, RFC is one of the best items you can give to him solely because as a melee champion, his pathing can bug out and he's likely to get stuck. Combine his range with the sustain of Bloodthirster and a tank item like Dragon's Claw, he becomes nearly unkillable. For next champion, we have Evelynn, who's a 3-cost demon assassin, mostly known for her extremely powerful ultimate. While her auto attacks may not be as strong as Rengar's, her ability combined with Demon's mana gain will allow her to execute most carries in a fight. The ability also making her untargetable will reset focus off her, usually allowing her to jump right back in without any problems. Her core items are Hextech Gunblade, Dragon's Claw, and Guardian Angel. Viable items on her are Shiv, Archangels, and Shojin. With those 3 core items, Evelynn becomes insanely powerful. The combined sustain from her Gunblade because of her execute to the tankiness provided by Dragonclaw and GA, Evelynn can easily carry you through the mid-game. On to one of the weaker champions, Katarina is a 3-cost Imperial assassin, only really serving as a 6th assassin or a 4th Imperial. Katarina is a unit that depends really heavily on items. Requiring a lot of mana and having an ultimate that can be underwhelming, she is one of the weaker assassins and isn't really used that much. Her core items are Seraph's, Guardian Angel, and Morrocrux, while viable items are Gunblade, Static Shiv, Frozen Heart, and Darken. She can be used as a 2-star unit until you find Nicolai, as items like Seraph's can be transferred over easily. However, she isn't great with carry items otherwise. And finally, Akali is a 4-cost ninja assassin, used as a powerful late-game assassin because of her ability 5-point strike, requiring a very small amount of mana for a lot of single-target damage, especially since it's able to crit. She is also a ninja, so by herself, she can usually replace some of your early-game assassins later on. Her core item is a Seraph's Embrace, while the rest of her viable items are Sword of the Divine, Warmogs, Dragon's Claw, Gunblade, Luden's Echo, and Rabadon's. Akali doesn't need much more than Seraphs. If you happen to come across a lot of tank items, she works very well with them. As with Seraphs alone, her damage output is powerful. So making her harder to kill can make her a serious threat to the enemy team. Now that you understand assassins and how they itemize, it's important to know how to position your carries most effectively. With synergies like Hextech, your stacked unit's items being disabled can lose you the fight. So let's talk about it. Assassins will typically always want to be in the very back along with their front line. The further back your team, the more likely your assassins can get access to the enemy's backline. Typically, you'd want to position around Hextech, so keep your stacked assassins at least one tile away from each other, especially because units like Rengar are heavily dependent on items. There isn't too much to go in depth regarding assassin positioning, though with some assassins like Pyke, you'd usually want him in one corner and your hyper carry in another. Other than that, just stay in the back as far as possible to get the most effective damage. Assassins are cool, but what synergies work well alongside them? There are a couple of core synergies you can look out for when creating your team. We'll be going over their strengths and how they help assassins overall. Brawlers are one of the best synergies to combine alongside assassins for multiple reasons that we'll review over. What assassins tend to need is a beefy front line to divert the enemy team's attention. Brawlers serve the main purpose with their major health boost. There are also units like Vi and Cho'Gath who provide crowd control that help the assassins lock down the enemy carries. On the topic of brawlers, Void is one of the best synergies with assassins solely because of how easy it is to fit into your comp. With Kha'Zix and Rek'Sai as core, you can put in Kassadin early until you find Cho'Gath for brawlers and Void. You can also look for Youmuu's and run Kassadin or Rek'Sai as an assassin as well. This true damage alone can help you handle synergies like Nobles and Guardians who tend to be much harder to kill. Wild. This is one of the synergies you have to go for if you're running Rengar. This is usually simple to get just by getting a Warwick in with brawlers. In the late game, however, you can swap out Warwick for a Gnar to get a unit with more effective crowd control. With Zed and Akali both being ninjas, if you manage to find both of them, you can be on the hunt for a Kennen and Shen, greatly improving the strength of their ninja synergies. As a note though, this synergy is only worth going for if you have Akali. You hurt your econ and bench space holding on to other ninjas, as putting 2 or 3 ninjas comparable to 1 or 4 makes them significantly weaker. Demons. Similar to Wild with Rengar, this is a synergy that is important if you're running Evelynn as a hyper carry. The demon synergy can be quite easy to put in with units like Aatrox, Morgana, or Swain who are strong enough to frontline. Though really any demon works well solely because the mana gain is important for Evelynn to carry you. Elementals. Extra frontline is always helpful, making Elementals a wonderful pick as a side synergy. With Brand as a demon and Kennen as a ninja, you can typically fit in Assassin Ninja Elementals as your team. Not only are the units strong, but the high health Golem provides a lot of stats for your team to play around. Next time you play Assassins, be sure to look out for these synergies. These alone can help you get better ranks. In the early game, you're looking ideally for units like Warwick, Kha'Zix, Nicolai, Pyke, Zed, and Rek'Sai. You do not have to aim for 3 assassins right away. There's also units like Nicolai or Zed who can take Rengar items until you find him. You're mostly looking for any of the early game assassins and brawlers to start transitioning into the mid game. Maintaining a strong early win streak as an assassin player can be powerful because the gold allows you to play more aggressively and eliminate players more efficiently. Your goal in the mid game is to find your hyper carry. This is also the strongest point in the game for assassins, as a lot of their compositions are usually completed at level 7. For example, your compositions could look like this. Playing Ninja Elemental Assassins, running Lissandra, Kennen, Brand, Akali, Zed, Shen, Evelynn. Wild Void Brawler Assassins, running Rengar, Kha'Zix, Akali, Warwick, Cho'Gath, Rek'Sai, Vi, or Demon Sorcerer Void Assassins, running Akali, Evelynn, Kha'Zix, Morgana, Cass, Cho'Gath, Lulu. This is the point in the game you want to play most aggressively and look to actively seek out dealing lots of damage. With teams like Night Rangers, which are completed at 8, this is your time to eliminate players before reaching the late game. Along with that, you want to aim to get your hyper carries like Rengar or Evelynn 3-starred, giving you an opportunity to have a powerful late game unit. The game is extending longer and everyone has reached level 8 or 9. Even during this time, assassins can still dominate. In the late game, you want to go for 6 assassins or look for some tanks like Sejuani, Cho'Gath, Gnar, or Pantheon to serve as extra frontline for your comp. Ideally, you also want to try to complete your 3-star hyper carries as well. Try to position your crowd control as best you can against the enemy team and place assassins on opposite sides of the opposing carries. And finally, let's say you're not playing assassins but trying to figure out how to beat them. There are ways that you can build your team against them as well as positioning around them. Elementals are one of Assassin's biggest counters for a few reasons. Firstly, Lissandra, Kennen, Brand, and Anivia are all very strong units against them. Lissandra ulting herself, giving immunity and AoE damage, Kennen with AoE stun, Brand's ability dealing heavy amounts of damage, and Anivia's attack speed slow. As a major bonus, Elementals also get a Golem that serves as a fantastic tank to distract the Assassins. Assassins being based around bursting the carries means Shapeshifters are one of their harder matchups due to the carries being incredibly tanky. Units like Gnar, Shyvana, and Swain with 3 Shapeshifter bonus alone can be very difficult to kill, especially when they're stacked with tank items. Their high base health makes synergies like Void not as useful as well. Guardians. This synergy is only a counter depending on your comp. For example, a hypercarry Rengar will struggle to kill a Guardian team more, unlike an Evelynn hypercarry who's purely magic damage based. Assassins like Zed and Rengar become significantly weaker when dealing with Guardians. Units. Maybe you can't fit in a specific synergy into your comp. What other options do you have to counter Assassins? Well, if you're looking to fit in a unit or two, these are fantastic options to look out for. Sejuani is one of the strongest counters to Assassins because of her high stats and AoE stun. Even if you don't have Knights or Glacial, she can fit right into your comp and provide enough crowd control for your team to handle the Assassins. Similar to Sejuani, Cho'Gath has high tank stats and has a very powerful AoE stun to handle them. This can be more difficult to pick up, however, if you're facing against Void Assassin players who want Cho'Gath as well. Morgana with Guardian Angel is incredibly powerful at handling Assassins, not just because of her damage, but the consistent stun you'll get with it as well. Guardian Angel does not cancel Morgana's chains, meaning during her revive, she'll still stun units. If positioned correctly, Alulu's ultimate can cause a lot of disturbance and difficulty for Assassins to kill their priority target. Though she's not as easy to fit in as Sejuani or Cho'Gath, if you're simply looking for 3 Sorcerers or 3 Yordles, she's your best bet. However, she's a backline unit, meaning if an Assassin gets onto her, she might die before casting her ultimate. Let's say you've already finished your ideal comp and cannot get any more units in. Well, these are a few things to keep in mind when positioning your team to give yourself an upper hand on the Assassins. Place a decoy. If you're running a unit like Mordekaiser or Fiora, placing a unit on the opposite corner of your team can provide a lot of extra time for you to handle the Assassins. It also decreases the chances of the Assassins jumping on priority units like your Draven or ASOL hypercarry. Corner stacking. Surrounding your carries with tanks is another way to try to position around Assassins. This positioning becomes more consistent depending on how many tanks you have. If your only tanks are 2 Guardians, it's likely your team is going to spread out trying to chase the Assassins in the back. However, if you have more tanks surrounding your carries, it's more likely your carries will be stuck behind them. Alright, and that concludes how to play Assassins. Was there anything that we missed about Assassins? What are your favorite Assassins comps? If you have any more questions, be sure to comment down below. Assassins are a powerful synergy that provides a lot of ways to adapt and offer you many different playstyles. It may take a bit of time to play them effectively, but with enough practice, this is a perfect synergy to play around to climb. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit ProGuides.com to stay up to date on teamfight tactics. Good luck in your games, and we'll see y'all next time.